Hello friends of the electrified charging fan and welcome to Electrified Speicher, your channel all around Škoda's e-mobility. My name is Matthias and I warmly welcome you to episode 8 of How to Škoda ENYQ. And this time we are talking about parking and maneuvering. As you already saw, I'm at a big parking lot here to show you everything on how this car parks, remote parking and memory parking and all the cameras and settings. And these videos here are for those who are starting out with an EV, and this might be a Škoda EV, or who are switching from a different brand over and want to know how a Škoda EV works and where all the nitty-gritty details are. If you are already an experienced Škoda EV driver, you may not find a lot of new information here, but this is not the goal of those videos. This is for those who start out. I have very detailed videos on nearly every topic, so also on the parking features where you can find every detail. Here it is just to get you started, and that is what we do right now, so let's start. To access all the parking functionality, you simply press that button down here. Also, it activates itself when needed. And of course, you can set a favorite up here to go to the parking settings. And when you enter that screen, the first thing the Škoda electric car you drive shows you the park assist, whether it is this screen to show you where you can park. First off, let's go to the camera screen. And this screen depends on how many cameras on what package you've got. This car has everything, so it got 4 cameras, 2 in the mirrors, 1 on the back and 1 on the front. Therefore, we've got that aerial view. And if you tap on the car, you get the complete area view of your Škoda vehicle. Of course, you can tap on either side to get the side view, to the front and to the rear to see every camera on its own with big detail. And when you go to the front camera, you get 2 options. And now you see the widescreen. You can already see the car coming from the left, yet when I switch here, you see it's a way more narrow view. And here you can see really a lot of this parking lot. But if you want to maneuver, you get those parking lines, and of course you may know them from your car. It shows where you're driving in yellow and the distance with the other bars here. You have the same view on the rear. Here you also see the bumper of your car and the lines. You can switch again to the wide view angle, and you've got an assistant for towing to perfectly maneuver your car to the trailer. And of course, you've got the lines. You've got the ultrasound sensor, so you see those lines here. These lines here are yellow when an object is more than 30 centimeters away and turn red when it is closer to than 30 centimeters. You also get that displayed on the head-up display, so the distance to your to all the obstacles around you. So you can do a lot with the cameras right here. The easiest form of assistance when it comes to parking are those guidance lines you have here. The yellow ones showing how your car is driving and turning, and the green and the red one. And if you're at the end of those yellow lines, there is around 290 centimeters left between your car and the obstacle. And when you come to the first green line, it's still 1 meter 80 centimeters until you get to the obstacle. When you get to the second green line, it's 90 to 95 centimeters. And when you've got to the red line, you still got 40 centimeters left until you hit the obstacle. And what is really great on that rear camera view is that you can see your bumper. You see my yellow orange bumper down there. And when you go with the bumper to the obstacle so that this lines up, there is only 5 centimeters left between your car and the obstacle. So you have quite a good guidance here on the rear. And for the front, it's the same. But unfortunately, at the front, you do not see the bumper. And therefore, if you go towards the obstacle way beyond the red line, which is 40 centimeters to the obstacle, down to the bottom of the screen where those lower bar comes, the black one, well, if you are there and line this up with the obstacle, there is still 20 centimeters left between your car and the obstacle. Your Škoda EV might be equipped with a 360-degree camera, so you have that top view here. And yes, you see that right. The car seems to be bigger than it is in reality, and you can see it here with the cobblestones on that parking lot. In the image, you see there's only half a stone left and right of the car, yet in reality it's 2.5 stones. And one stone is 20 centimeters, so in reality there's 40 centimeters on the left and on the right. And also the car is not really at the end of the parking lot, nor is it over the parking lot at the front of the car. It fits perfectly. But now let's head to the settings, because of course you can do a lot of settings when it comes to parking and maneuvering your cars. First off, the park distance control here. Sometimes it might be handy to deactivate that it turns on automatically, for example in a traffic jam, but you can always press the button to deactivate it. You can set the volumes and remote park assist. That is in the settings an important feature, because you have to activate your smartphone, your My Škoda app, and add it to the car so you can use it. You do that here in the settings under remote park assist. And once it is connected, you can steer your ENYAQ with your smartphone to get into parking lots and to get out of parking lots. Your Škoda might be equipped with a lowering right mirror when you drive backwards. And to use that function, first you have to activate it in the settings of the vehicle. Go to Vehicle, Vehicle Mirrors, lower in reverse gear and activate this. When this is activated, well, you have to train that mirror how much it should lower, because if I now shift to reverse, well, obviously nothing happens. To make that happen, shift to reverse and then move your mirror adjustments to right. And again, you see nothing happens. And now I'll adjust my mirror how I want it in the reverse gear. This is the training right now, like this. And to save this position for the reverse gear now, switch back to 0 here and go into just another gear, and you see the mirror is adjusted again. And now, when I switch to reverse here, you might think this mirror will lower. No, because this here, this knob has to be on R as well for the right mirror. And there you go, it lowers itself in the reverse gear. Now I keep that in R and switch here back to driving forward. And again, nothing happens. The mirror stays low because it stays for a bit of time driving forward until you are fast enough, and then it will start to lift itself up again. And as soon as I now go back to reverse while I'm on the right mirror over there, reverse, the mirror lowers itself and I can drive in reverse with a lowered mirror to have a better sight on the right part of my car. The first assist a lot of people already know is the park assist, which helps you to get your car parked perpendicular or parallel. So you drive by parking lots, as I do here, and when the car finds a suitable one, it shows you, well, we could park here. But what most people do not know is that you can switch direction. So when you see here, I tap on the car and I can choose whether to park front or rear reverse into that parking lot, and I switch it here. So I drive past the parking lot thinking I go reverse in it, and then switch it to go forward, and then the car does it perfectly. This functionality is quite handy and you can use it quite often when you just want to park, but this is nothing new. And of course, with this function you have to sit in the car and observe the parking process. The next functionality when it comes to parking is trained parking, also called memory parking, where your Škoda EV remembers a certain distance of a parking process and can repeat it all over again. It's about 50 to 70 meters the car can memorize, and it needs its sensors for this as well as the GPS position. So if you do not have a GPS signal, for example in underground parking, it will not work. And to use the system you need to train it. Therefore, just do a parking process, get into a parking lot. You do not have to activate anything first, and then when you've parked, parked, go to the parking menu, hit on that P with the star on it, the favorite parking positions, choose one out of those 5 options where you can store a parking location, give it a name, and you are done. The car remembers that parking process. But you can also teach your car to get out of the same parking spot or parking lot on the same favorite. So you have both processes on one button. Therefore, step back into your car, go to the park menu, go to the favorites and the memorized parking and select the one where you currently are. It's highlighted in green. And then the car will already tell you, should I now learn how to get out of that lot? And you just simply start driving, drive out. And when you're done, you can hit stop if it is shorter than 50 meters, so just drive as long until the car tells you, I have memorized how to get out of the parking lot. Afterwards, you can repeat that all over again. As soon as the car sees that you're at that GPS position, well, it will tell you, I have a parking position here, shall we park? Or you could activate it manually. And then you can do this while sitting in the car, but you can also use that option with the remote parking function we talk over in the next chapter. And the car will not drive just dumb the way you learned the car to drive. It will use its sensor. So if there's an obstacle or something has changed, it will notice this and interrupt the parking process. The latest addition to all the parking assistance systems is remote parking. So you use your smartphone from outside of the car to park it or to get out of a parking lot. And to do this, well, you can do it ad hoc and with memorized parking. Ad hoc is like shown here. You drive past some parking lots and then you get reminded, hey, here we can do remote parking, we can do remote parking. You choose one, you hit that button in the car, you get out of the car, you activate it on your smartphone and then simply tap on parking. You do not have to steer on your own. You can, don't get me wrong, but there's no need to because the car knows how to park and bring it into the parking lot. The sensors are active, so if there's any obstacle in your way, the car will interrupt the parking process. And you can use the same functionality with all those memorized parking positions. So when you're at a memorized parking position, just tap again on remote parking, get out of the car, and you can do the same from outside by simply pressing a button. And again, if any obstacle is in your way, the car will interrupt the parking process or also getting out of the parking lot. And keep in mind, you have to be very, very close to the car. So 1 or 2 meters away from the car is the maximum. If you are going further away, this process will directly be interrupted. And if you're getting closer again, you can use the app again to proceed with the parking process with remote parking. So this is it, the overview of all the features for parking and maneuvering with your Škoda EV. And I think there is a lot of things your Škoda can do for you. And please write me in the comments, what are the functions you use or what are the functions you think are nice to have, but, well, not in everyday life. And with this last episode, number 8, my series of How to Škoda EV is at its end. Yes, there will be a 9th part, a 9th episode with all the tips and tricks and a bit of an FAQ, yet the main series is done. You had 8 videos with everything to get the best start with your Škoda EV. And if you like the series and this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed so you do not miss out any new content. And if this was a helpful series for you, please consider to give me a small donation, because despite the fact that's a lot of fun to do those videos, it's also a lot of effort. And if those videos really helped you, well, I think that is worth a small amount of money. So just think about that. And then I hope we see each other in the next video. And until then, stay full of energy.